Welcome to the Vikings Now. I am your host, Patrick Seatman. On today's show, we got a Minnesota Vikings mailbag where I answer your questions on the latest rumors, news, whatever they may be. This came from our live show that we do every other week on Wednesday at 3 o'clock. First question coming in here from Viking Nation, and it's a good one. Vikings trade 3 first-rounders for Joey Bosa. I love these types of questions because it's just like you're playing Madden and you're playing the GM and you just kind of get to do whatever you want. 3 first-rounders for Joey Bosa. So let's think about this on both sides. Number one, for the Vikings, would they offer this? I think so. I think you would take 3 first-rounders for Bosa. It would – actually, now that I just said it out loud, probably not. Maybe 2 first-rounders. But the Chargers, I think they would do it. I think they would take 3 first-rounders for a guy like Joey Bosa. But could you imagine a Joey Bosa, Danielle Hunter combo for the next couple of years? That would be a lot of fun. But giving up first-round picks, I wouldn't want to do it. Anthony Sebring, $2 super chat. Thank you so much, Anthony. You're the man. He says, #Vikings. If Adam gets cut, you think he will retire? That's a great question, Anthony, actually. I don't think so, only because I've been, obviously, whenever I listen to a Thielen interview over this past, kind of month or so, he seems like he's still got enough juice in the tank, and he kind of wants to keep going. And I think somebody asked him, it was about, the New England Patriots, because obviously it's so stereotypical. Every white receiver in the NFL gets connected to New England. So they asked him about the Patriots, and he kind of mentioned, he was like, I would love to play for a guy like Bill Belichick and play under a different organization than the Vikes. But he obviously then followed that up with saying, I would love to finish my career with the Minnesota Vikings. So I'm going to say no. I don't think Adam Thielen will retire if he gets cut. Mateo saying, could you trade Thielen and Cook together for one better player? Mateo. I love the way you're thinking right now. You got 2 guys that might get cut. Could you trade them both for a better player? So let me think about teams that could need a weapon. The New York Giants, even though they do have Saquon Barkley, let's say they let Saquon walk, and the Giants hit you up and say Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook, let's just say a guy like, obviously Dexter Lawrence, no, but let's just say Azeez Ojulari, a defensive lineman or something like that. Could we trade a Adam Thielen and Dalvin Cook trade for a guy like Azeez Ojulari or anybody else? Or we could send him to the Saints. Kamara is going to get locked up for the next, hopefully, 4 to 6 weeks only. Michael Thomas is most likely leaving. You could call a team like the Saints, too, who need a running back and a wide receiver 2 or 3. I don't hate that idea, Mateo. Susan B. saying, who is your top free agent target for the Vikings? So my top free agent target for the Vikings has to do with Brian Flores, and it's actually going to be Cam Sutton. Cam Sutton's the corner. He's been kind of the staple of the Pittsburgh Steelers defense for the past couple of seasons. In 2022, he had 15 pass breakups, almost a PBU a game, 3 interceptions, and 43 tackles. I think he would be perfect with this Brian Flores system, a corner that can play inside and out, man-to-man, zone, whatever it may be, a very versatile player, a very versatile person that fits very well with the Brian Flores system. He would be my top free agent of a guy that's realistic to bring in. Obviously, you got the big names like Daron Payne, but a realistic Vikings free agent option, and my top choice is Cameron Sutton. I want to ask you guys this. I'll make this a pinned comment actually on today's video. Name your top free agent target for the Minnesota Vikings. It could get wild. You could say Daron Payne, or you could go more, need and go a guy like Cam Sutton like I am. Make this a pinned comment, so if an ad break comes right now on YouTube, take advantage of it. Let it play. Answers today's pinned comment down below. Name your top free agent target for the Vikes. Next question, Anthony Sebring, another $2 super chat. My main man, Anthony, I appreciate it. It says, do you think that DC can do big in 1 year? Yes, I do. So the thing with Brian Flores that I love so much, and that's why I got so excited about this hire, is because Ed Donatel, he was soft zone coverage. Corners are playing 10 yards off. We're only sending 4 guys. And then you completely turn the page and you go to a guy like Brian Flores, who's get in your face, play press man, play a little more aggressive nature of football. And I've loved the way he's been kind of talking about how he's going to go about it, where he says, when you're talking about being aggressive, there's a quote he had. It was like, you got to be calculated too. It's the combination of being calculated and being aggressive. And I just love that. Brian Flores, his press conference, maybe will want to run through a brick wall. I think he's going to do big things. However, I will say, if he does do big things, he will be gone after this season. I think he's going to be a head coach candidate next season. Past Master saying about, what about both of Miami Joneses that got injured, the DBs that will help us. So I'm sure you're talking about Byron Jones and Byron Jones and who's the other name? Oh, yeah, Brian and Brian Jones. Yes, the two Joneses from Miami. So Byron Jones, obviously, he started his career in Dallas. He actually went to UConn, funny enough, more of a basketball school, but he was produced out of there. But both those guys, really, really good years under Brian Flores. And that's why I think a lot of these former Dolphins corners, former Dolphins defenders keep getting connected to the Minnesota Vikings. If we're not talking corner, a guy like Kyle Van Noy, he was great with Brian Flores. But both those guys, super versatile, super kind of get in your face, type of play man-to-man corners. I would love both those guys on the Vikings. Both of them a little more cooked, a little more out of their prime, but both those guys, I would love it. Sean Muster saying, should the Minnesota Vikings draft Zay Flowers? So Zay Flowers, he was really turning heads at the Senior Bowl, and he's been kind of getting some Antonio Brown comparisons from Brett Coleman. He dropped that whole comparison video comparing this man, Zay Flowers, to him. I mean, this year, 78 receptions, just over 1,000 yards, just under 14 yards a catch, and 12 touchdowns. And the thing is with Zay Flowers, man, if you turn on his tape, he jumps off the screen. I mean, he is literally one of those guys where you can't take your eyes off him. And the thing I love about talking about potential first-round talent, I'm going to want to see it when I'm just watching your highlights on YouTube. A guy like Zay Flowers, you see it. You see he's a first-round pick. And wouldn't he fit nicely in this wide receiver 2 spot, assuming the Vikings move off of Adam Thielen? I would love Zay Flowers. If it's him, Justin Jefferson, KJ Osborne, a great young group of receivers, give me Zay Flowers in this year's draft. He's there at 23 and the Vikings take him. I would be ecstatic. Now, if you guys want daily Minnesota Vikings YouTube videos, this is the best way to do it. You just hit that subscribe button. You just go down there. It's free. It kind of sends us a message as here at a company at Chat Sports. Oh, wow, Vikings channel's doing well. Let's get them more videos. It's easy. Help us out. It's quick. It's free. Just go down there. Hit that subscribe button. Viking Nation saying, I think Minnesota could bring back Jerick McKinnon and trade Dalvin Cook to Carolina. Another great question coming in from Viking Nation. I would love to bring back Jerick McKinnon. Jerick McKinnon, he was one of the first Vikings. Obviously, I'm only 23 years old, so that was probably when I was about freshman, sophomore year of high school, and the Vikings were making that run in 2017 when they inevitably lost to the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC Championship game. I love Jerick McKinnon. He was still great this past year for the Chiefs. He's one of those guys where it seems like age or Father Time hasn't really tapped him on the shoulder yet. Jerick McKinnon, he's been fantastic. He's explosive. He runs with power. I love that side of it. Trading Dalvin Cook to Carolina, hey, if you could get a third for Dalvin Cook and Carolina calls you and offers that, you say yes immediately. Tommy Tips, next question, saying, any chance the Vikings can bring in OBJ this offseason? So OBJ, he was connected to the Vikings a little bit when he was kind of going on his tours, when he was trying to find a team for this upcoming year, but obviously injuries derailed that. But OBJ, he's got the connection with Kevin O'Connell. It's going to be an interesting decision to see where he ends up. But, I mean, hey, 2021 for the Los Angeles Rams, he was fantastic, man. I mean, that playoff run he had, over 100 yards in the NFC Championship game. And then he also had, I think it was like 50 yards and a touchdown in the limited reps that he had during the Super Bowl. OBJ, I would love to bring him into Minnesota. I think it would be a great piece next to Justin Jefferson. You got the LSU connection between those two. Jefferson, OBJ, both went to LSU. Obviously got other LSU guys like Pat Pete, Daniil Hunter, and all of them. But OBJ, that'll be fun. I mean, really, that'll be a fun pick. I don't know if OBJ would want to come settle down in Minnesota. I think that's a huge part of it. I think he wants to be in a bigger market, bigger city, and he did mention he wants to find a place to settle down with his family and kind of raise his kids. So OBJ, that'll be a fun choice. Would he be a really solid wide receiver too? Yes, but also it's going to come down to money. If OBJ, if he wants a longer year deal, if he wants a 3-year, $30 million deal, most teams are probably going to say no. But if it's a 2-year, 24, give him it all guaranteed. Convert some of it into a signing bonus where his cap hit isn't too much and he's your wide receiver too for the next couple of years. I wouldn't really hate it. But thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you guys made it to the end, you are a real one. It helps a lot out here when you guys watch all the way to the end. Thank you guys so much. Type real one down below if you guys did make it to the end of the video. I love seeing it. As Kirko Chains, actually, before we get on out of here, another quick $5 super chat from my man. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. This came from our live show anyways this year. But thank you so much, Kirko. Kind of gets into the point of do you love the Vikings? If so, spam Skull in the comments section. Thank you guys so much for making it to the end of today's video. See you guys next time. Peace.